Hi everyone, this is Vebali. Welcome to my YouTube channel Learning Edge Pro. And today I'm going to create a view models pages and gonna do some stylings and doing some configurations in my program.cs. So let's get started without wasting any time. This is our part 4. And first of all, we will go to our main page.xml. And in this, as you can see, I've created a XMLNS references of view models. VM means view models, like view models. I've configured it with my view models. And this is for data, this is for models, and this is the data type. Okay, so this is the navbar. It should not be visible. And I have also mentioned my controls. So first of all, I have set my all the basics. So right now I have deleted all of these things which were implemented by default in main.page.xml. So let's get started from fresh. So first of all, we will have to create grid, which will be column definitions of point. So overall, the window size is 100 px, so we will going to divide it into two sectors, like 0.75 will be occupied by left one and 0.25 will be occupied by right one. So for that, I've created 0.75 for the left and 0.25% for the right. Okay, so now our grid is completed. Now in the grid, we have to create our grid. This will be grid.column, and in the column 0, this will be the right one, and the row definition will be set to auto and star. So we have created our grid perfectly, and in this grid we will have some label like our name, the menu categories, and menu categories items like list folder. So for that, we will create label grid for row. The first row will be of 0, and the text will be hello Zohaib. So as you can see, I've created my label. So we will just copy this and we'll paste it 2 times. So second one will be our categories list, and third one will be our menu item list. So we have perfectly created our grid. So after that, we will just create a grid column for the background for the right sector. So we will just create a grid.column one. Background color will be, we will set it to green, and we have created this. And in that, we will show the label of current order items. So now we are good. And in this, we will just create a background color of white, because by default in Visual Studio, my background color is set to black. So let's run the POS application and let's see what changes are made. So as you can see, our POS application is now perfectly in running mode. The right side is green, the left side is white. Why I set this background to white? Because by default, the Visual Studio set my background to black. So that's why I have to set it to white. So we are good till now. After that, we will create a home view model class from where we will be getting our data. So for that, we have just to create the class in view models, which will be named as home view model. So this is our main key class. Now it will be set to public, and this home view model class will be an observable project, because all the data will be sending and retrieving from here. So we have set it to observable object. After that, we will create a property of observable. Okay, not first. We will just create a public. We will call the menu category, which we have created previously, and this is its array. And from this, we will just call our categories. Okay, okay, that's good. And the array will be set to empty. So this will also be an observable property, like that. Now we have to create a constructor for home view model. In that constructor, we will be calling our database service, which we have defined in myprogram.cs already. And in this, we will just, we will just do this, go to quick actions and assign field. So I'm used to of the underscore. So we'll use that. Okay, now we are good. After that, we will just create a method of initializing. From that, our application will be initialized and all the data will be loaded. It will be a task initialize async. Okay, now we are good. Oh, sorry. Curly brackets will be used. Uh, After this, if is underscore is initialized. Okay, I will tell you the logic in depth. Why I've created this condition. So it will just return. If not, that is initialized will be set to true, and categories will be await because this is an async method, and we will be using database service dot get menu categories async. Okay, so I've used this. So this will not be a task anymore. This will be converted into a manual task. So why it's okay. Now for that we are good. We just now have to create a is initialized private variable. For that we will just go. Basically, this is a flag which we will be using. So this will be private bool and underscore is initialized. Now we are good. After that, we just have to okay. Why I've created this is initialize function because when the data will be loaded, so first of all it will run the categories. After that we will run our POS application, so it will just check if our data is already initialized, so it will directly return. If not, then our data will get the categories from here. So okay, after that we will just generate a loading property also because it should load because whenever our data is getting fetched, so it will be using the loading method. So we will be using the loading, which will be also be an observable property like this, and we will be using this in here. Is loading equals to true, and after when the categories is fetched, is loading equals to false. Now I think we are now good. After this, we just have to create initialize method just below this private async, which will be void and initialize just to initialize the okay sorry to initialize the home view model. Wait underscore home view model. Okay, why it is not getting directly? I think I've missed something. I think I've missed something. Okay, let's check. Okay, okay, sorry. This will not be implemented here. This will be in our main page.xmls.cs. Before that, we will just create this a partial class to remove the error because this will be using as partial. So let's now go into our main page.xmls.cs. Okay, so now we are into our main page. Here, I've deleted all the butter counter things like that. We will just create it from the starting. First of all, we have to pass a parameter in the main page constructor of home view model. Okay, now I've created this home view model, and this will initialize. Okay, it's sure we will be calling under home view model. Okay, it is now getting, and it will be binded with binding context here with underscore home view model. Okay, let's first of all just create the assign property for here, assign field. Okay, now I've created this working perfectly. I've already created this. So after that, we will just use the initialize, not component, just initialize. Okay, after this, we will just create a method of initialize, which we will be using here just to initialize our home view model into our main page. For that, we will just have to create public private. Oh, sorry, it will be a private because it is a private method. Initialize wait home view model dot any initialize this sync. Why it is not getting this? Okay, let's check the issue. Home view model dot initializing. Let's get back to into our home view model, and here I have already created this. Okay, I think I am using the private. It should be a public. Now the issue will be resolved. Okay, as you can see, the issue is now resolved. After this, we will just go into our MAUI program.cs, and in there we will just add our home view model. It will be added as a singleton. And after adding home view model, we will also be adding our main page as well. Main page. And now I think we are good here. After this, we will just go into our MainPage.xml and we have to just create our UI better. So for that, we just have to go into a grid.1, and in here, I will be calling a collection view, which will be grid.draw1, and it will be using an item source, which will be binding with categories. Okay, now I've created my collection view. Okay, the collection view will be horizontal because we have to show our categories as an horizontal. So for that, I'm using a layout. After this, we will be using a linear item layout in which every category should be spaced in 10 and orientation should be horizontal. Okay, now we are good. Now we have created our items layout. After this layout, we just have to create our collection view.items template. Items template. In this item template, we just have to call our data template, which will be using the data type of data menu category. And after this, it will be using a border with padding. Now we are just constructing, we are now just designing the UI of how our categories should present. So for that, I'm using the padding 20 and 10. Background color should be set to uh, uh, white smoke. Okay, this will look good. The stroke shape will be round rectangle. The borders of 10 and the stroke thickness will be set to 0. Now our borders are created. In the borders, we have to create a horizontal stack layout with a spacing of 5, I guess. Oh, okay, we will check if it's not good. And we will set an image with a height request of 20 icon image source will be binded with the icon related to every category. Vertical option should be center and width request also be 20. Now we have created our image, and after the image, our uh, name of the category should also pop up. For that, we just have created the text of binding name, which will be vertical options center. Now I think we are good. After this, let's check what we have done. Let's run the app. Okay, now I can see now my food items are showing perfectly. The one issue is arising that my uh, names are written in by default white color, so we will just adjust it with the black. Okay, sorry, text color should be set as black. Okay, now we are good. You can see now the second issue is that our categories list is overlaying on our this thing, so we have to set it also. So let's close the application. Okay, so we will just set the row spacing. Wait, let's give some gap, and the row spacing will be set to 10. Okay, now our that congestion issue is now resolved. After this, we have already changed our text color. So after this, we will just create a menu category model folder. Okay, for that, just close this, and in the models forward folder, we will just create another class which will be named as menu category model. And in this menu category model, we will just set it to public, and it will also be using a partial class, and it is also an observable object. In this, we will be passing a property of ID, name, okay, and the last thing will be icon. Icon will be using the string. So we have just created this. Now after that, we will just create a selected property. Like whenever we on the category, we should see that the selected category is selected. So it should change its color. For that, we will just create a private property for that, which will be private bool. Or you can use any variable. I will just use selected. Okay, this property will be using an observable property, because whenever the selected category is selected, so it will be using the observable property like whether which category is selected or not. For that, we will just create a menu category model, and which will be calling from entity, and from the entity we will be passing the menu category. Okay, just type, and we'll passing entity also, and we'll return the new, which will be saved into our id.entity, name.entity name, icon. So now we are good. Our menu category model is now created successfully. After this, we have created this. So for the selection changed at menu category, so we will also need to change it here, menu category. So now we have changed it to menu category model. So we just have to call it from the models. As you can see, get menu categories. Okay, I got it. Okay, for that, we just have to change this to brackets. After this, not to list. Under this, we will be using our dot select, that whenever our category is selected, it should call it from menu category model or from entity. So this is good, and this will be using an array to store. So now our home view model is also created successfully. After this, we will just change our data template in MainPage.xmls. So here it is, where's the data type? So it will also be set to menu category model. So now we are good. Why it is not getting this? Okay, I got it, because this is using a data from data folder. Now it will be using the models. Now I think we will be good. After this, we will just go and add one more property into our home view model. Okay, just below this, and that will also be a observable property, and it will be private menu category model question mark underscore selected category. Now we are good. This will also be set to private. Now all the things are working perfectly fine. After this, in below, we will just add categories to be called category 0, just to set default category selected, because whenever we open the app, so the default category should be selected category equals to categories 0. Now we have also defined this. After this, we will be just using the trigger in our main page.xml. For that, we will just go to our main page.xml, and in this, we will just below the horizontal stack layout in the borders, we will be using border.trigger, because whenever the border triggers, it prompts that category should be changed. The category is selected. Now the color should be changed. For that, we will be using data trigger, which will be binded with uh, binding selected, which we have created, and target type will be set to border, because the border is selected, and the value will be set to true, because current value will be false. Now we have created this data trigger, and the data trigger we will be setting a setter in which the property of changing selected category will change to uh, green. Okay, that I guess now we should also create. Okay. Now we are perfectly fine. After this, we will be using same border.trigger property in the label. Okay, where we are using that label, it is here, just below the label. Now, as you can see, we have wait or this. Now it will be changed to label.trigger. Okay, now we are good. And when the data triggers, the binding is selected, target will be changed to label, and the text color property will be changed to text color. Text color will be changed to white. Okay, now we have created these things. Now after that, we just have to create our select category method, because whenever our category is selected, so the current selected category should be unselected, because the next category is selected. So for that we have because at the same time multiple categories can't be selected. For that we have to create a method in our view models. For that we will just go into our view models, and here we will just create a private void select category, which will be passing a category ID, that which category is selected currently, uh, category ID. In this method we will be using a condition if selected category equals to not null, a category ID, and it should be referring to ID, and it will directly return. If not, we will be using variable where our existing selected category should be stored. Okay, this categories dot first C will return C dot selected, and the existing selected category should be selected to false. Now we have stored this into the current selected category will be stored into our existing selected category, and it will by this method will be set to false whenever another category is selected. So now we will just create a new variable which will be named as newly selected category. So there we will be using the same thing, but not too much code will be changed. We will be using the same code c.cid if equals to category.id, and our newly selected category will be set to true. Okay, now our this method is now completed, and the selected category should be now referring to newly selected category. Now our this method is perfectly fine. After this, we will be uh, using the borders dot gesture recognizer, because whenever the border is tapped, the category should change. For that, we just have to go here, and in the borders just below this, we just have to do this. Okay, I've copied my code. I've pasted it here. You can see we are using the border.gesture recognizer. For that, why I'm using this, because whenever the border is tapped, the tab gesture recognizer will be set to true. That current category is now selected. For that, the command I am using this binding source with relative source and sister type, and sister means like which our selected category is getting called from home view model, and the path is select category command. Okay, there's a one problem. I have not set it to relay command because relay command. Okay, now it will use our path as select category command. Okay, and the command parameter will be passing category binding category ID, which will be binded with binding ID. Okay, now we are good. Now we just have to run our application and check whether it's working perfectly fine. Okay, now as you can see, our POS application is now loaded, and why it is not working, let me check. And the category list is overlaying on it. Okay, we will go to our MainPage.xml, and here's our categories list. So we will just completely comment this, and it should be now perfect. Now it is working perfectly fine. As you can see, our categories are moving, is selected button is now perfectly working. Now the last thing which we have to do is just to go into our app.xmls.cs. Here I have created this a method from where our POS application will be opened in the minimum width and height. So the minimum width height I have set for my POS application. Whenever it is loaded, the height will be set as 760px, and the minimum will be set at 1280px. So uh, in this we just have to go, we don't need the on start. Okay, we will be just passing the database, it's perfectly good. And after this we will be using uh not under this, we will be using okay, let's remove this using task.run. Whenever the application is in running mode, we will just using the async, which will return Wait, database service dot initialize database async. So I have to create another method. Okay, sorry. It will be a get awaiter, and after that we will just be seeing the get results. So let's again run the app to show you it's working perfectly fine. So as you can see now our POS size and width is already set and our categories are getting selected perfectly fine. So I hope you like the video. So that's it. For more coming videos, kindly press the subscribe button and press the bell icon so you will never miss an update. Thanks for watching. We will see you in another video.